Hello, Tommy Franks here again. Today, my topic is learning, unlearning, and relearning. Again, learning, unlearning, and relearning. I spent the first 25 years of my life hearing various things from learning various things and hearing various things, but learning to walk, learning to talk, tying my shoes, driving a car, using correct English, verbiage, most of the time anyway, learning how to be a good citizen, learning how to be a good soldier, etc. I also learned a lot about religiosity, which I call poppycockology. I learned a lot of the traditions of men when it comes to church work and when it comes to going to church. So when I went on a theological search in 1972, I discovered that I had to unlearn a bunch of things. I had to learn a bunch of new things that I had learned, I thought I had learned in church. So I had to unlearn a lot of these things. So for about 10 years, I had to unlearn many traditions of the elders. I had to learn that hellfire and brimstone was not the only way for people to go to heaven. And hellfire and brimstone was not the only way for people to make a decision or a commitment to Christ. I also had to unlearn that almost everyone was going to hell, except for a select group of religious people. So I had to unlearn this. I was taught that hardness was holiness. I had to unlearn this. I had to unlearn many traditions that were not based on truth. They drastically hindered my relationship with God. So I went back to the basics of the POG. You say, well, what in the world is the POG? The POG is plain old gospel. It's the plain old gospel. So I had to go back there. I had to relearn a multitude of simple godly concepts. The relearning has also been a continuous and tremendous journey. And I'm still on that journey. I have learned that God actually loves me as his son. I have learned that God regards me as his child. I have learned that regardless of how I act up or how often I mess up, that he is still my Father. He is such a good God. He's not up there with a big hammer. You know, they taught me as a child or as a youth, God's up there with a big hammer. Behave or, you might get smashed up. But believe me, he's not up there with a hammer. He's not up there to smash us up when we sin. We all sin at one time or another. We sin. And we ask God to forgive us. He does something about our sins. He forgives us. He loves us even though we are still under construction. And we'll be under construction until we're taken up to heaven. Hence, our whole lives are spent learning, unlearning, and relearning. Think about it. Okay? Think about it.